In a recent interview on ID Boxing, we had Joseph Parker talking to Rob Tebbett about his upcoming fight with Joyce. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be Parker's third fight in a row in Manchester. That boy must travel a lot, or he just doesn't see his family very much at all. Regardless of the many things they spoke about, the big takeaway for me was Parker's awareness that this does need to be a good fight. We need some excitement here. There's a rematch clause in place. People need a reason to come back and invest in heavyweight boxing. Parker needs to show us, after having, it's got to be said, quite a lot of subpar performances from like 2016 onwards. He's got to give us a reason to not root for him, because we kind of do that anyway because he's such a nice guy, but a reason to sort of anticipate his presence in the ring. He can be exciting. We need to see it again. We can all thank the good Lord that the WBO interim belt will be on the line. All that matters, of course, is that Parker and Joyce are fighting. Two guys who are very much in that second tier of the top 10 heavyweights. Guys with plenty of potential. I still think of them as both as young. Even though Joyce is about 35, he's fresh in the pro ranks. He's undefeated. He brings that momentum with him. Parker, technically younger. Yeah, been in more wars in the pro ranks, but I think he's still quite fresh. And under Andy Lee right now, he seems to be getting his second and third wind. Now, just to elaborate on those subpar performances I spoke about, it seemed like for the longest time, the one big takeaway from every Parker performance was just, when are you getting rid of Kevin Barry? You're still young. He's taking you as far as he can. There's clear holes in your game. It's the same old story with every fight. You go into sleep. Even though you're fast-handed, you're kind of telegraphing the right hand. You're straightening up in clinches. And you don't seem to necessarily care too much. Straight away, with Andy Lee in that second fight, against an awkward, you fight my kind of fight, Derek Chisora, Parker's more assertive. He's looking for the uppercut. He's leaning in during the clinches to keep his shape, fighting with more intent and method. In recent interviews, he seems to perhaps notice these changes, is becoming more confident now that he's actually seeing himself grow. There's a good relationship there and just an overall healthy environment in Morecambe with his buddy Tyson Fury. Everything's as good as it could be right now for the Kiwi. One of the interesting considerations for this fight is whether or not Parker will attempt to come in heavy like he did for Chisora 2. He is fighting a bigger man, 6'6", 80-inch reach. And Joyce showed against Daniel Dubois, who, I got to hold up my hand, I picked Dubois for that one. He showed that he knew how to chip away and diffuse a dangerous guy. When I was watching it live, I was just waiting for Dubois to lower the boom. You watch it back, and straight away in the first round, Joyce is landing that weird, just flick-out jab. It didn't even look that technically correct, but there he is. Boom, boom, boom. You know, just lurching about the ring like he does, like some sort of tree trunk that's just being repositioned. Boom, left jab, boom. It was accurate. He paced himself well, and it ended up, of course, doing real damage. And the fact that Joyce keeps this consistent pace could be his real angle to win this one. Parker does tend to fight in spurts. He's quite explosive, he has his moments, and he's picking them better now, I think. But he still does like a little recharge. And they're the moments where Joyce is going to be looking to mug him a bit up close and just hold him to that higher pace throughout the 36 minutes. And in that same interview with Parker and ID Boxing, he kind of said, without actually saying it, that he doesn't expect a knockout here. And so himself and Andy Lee better have come up with a very tight game plan. In those moments when he's going to get tired and Joyce is going to keep pumping those arms, he's got to either move, fire back, or tie him up. He can't allow to start suffering the penalty and having his good work erased, because I'm sure he's going to be landing that right hand. Joyce does not move his head. Look at his last fight against the pastic Christian Hammer. No doubt Parker's going to be pinging the head, moving quite well. Joyce may have more success with that decent jab because, of course, you can kill speed with timing. But I do expect Parker to be up at least at the halfway point. And so then it's up to him and good instruction from Andy Lee to keep it together, to keep themselves ahead and take the decision. Now, I could be underrating the subtleties in Joyce's game. When you're mostly known for just having a great chin and having something of a Hulk smash vibe about you, you can easily forget what is good in their boxing. And Joyce has a lot of patience. He does have timing. And then he mixes it up with the rough stuff, which is going to break rhythms. It can be hard to get a gauge of what kind of fight you're in, how to respond. And I think that might be kind of the essence of their own plan that they're going to bring to the table. However, having said all of that, having tried to consider things and weigh things up as best as I can, I've got to go with Parker. Still fresh. Should be able to draw from now a lot of pro experience. He's fought in front of very big crowds. He's been a world champion before. He knows what it's like to get knocked down and get back up. And with this added focus and, spite, that's the word people have been saying more about Parker now. He should be able to call upon that natural athleticism, which is still there, ping that head, which doesn't move very much, and then when things get hard, and he might want that little recharge, surely this is where Andy Lee has patched things up already in the gym with the game plan. Lock him up, take him on a little dance, get the jab back in his face, and win a close but clear unanimous decision. And roll on the rematch.